Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, bro. Please start.
Okay. Vibhishana replied, "This is the son of the sage Vishrava named Kumbhakarna. He is the largest of all the Rakshasas and has defeated even the Lord of Death Yamaraja. When Kumbhakarna took birth, he immediately began to devour thousands of living creatures. Because of this, the created beings took shelter of King Indra, who became enraged to learn what had happened. Indra launched an attack on Kumbhakarna. When Indra released his thunderbolt, the Rakshasa was knocked unconscious. However, he soon regained his senses and tore out one of Airavata's tusks and smashed it against Indra's chest, causing him severe pain. The defeated king of heaven then took shelter of Lord Brahma. Indra told him, "The son of Vishrava named Kumbhakarna is tormenting the rishis and carrying away the wives of others. Moreover, he is devouring living beings at such a rate that it will not be long before we are all extinct." Lord Brahma entered meditation, and when he beheld Kumbhakarna with his mystic vision, he became alarmed. After pondering the situation, Lord Brahma approached Kumbhakarna, saying, "You have been created for the destruction of the world, but it is now time for universal maintenance. Therefore, for the welfare of all living beings, you will remain continually buried in deep sleep from this day forward." Kumbhakarna soon became overpowered by Lord Brahma's curse. Ravana then pleaded, "O Brahma, you have cut down a tree that is just about to bear fruit. O supreme teacher within the universe, it is not proper for you to curse your great grandson like this. I know your words cannot prove futile, but you should at least allow Kumbhakarna some time for remaining awake." Lord Brahma replied, "I shall grant your wish. Kumbhakarna will sleep continuously for 6 months and then awaken for one day. At that time, he can wander over the earth and devour whatever he likes before falling into another slumber." Vibhishana concluded, "Ravana has awakened Kumbhakarna prematurely because of being hard pressed in battle. Just by seeing the monstrous Rakshasa, our monkey soldiers have been thrown into confusion. I suggest that we tell the monkeys that Kumbhakarna is simply a large mechanical device. This will help them to overcome their fear." As Kumbhakarna entered Ravana's palace, Rama ordered Nila to rally the monkeys and attack the city gates. Again, fierce fighting broke out between the monkeys and the Rakshasas. At the same time, Kumbhakarna, along with thousands of his followers, came before Ravana as he sat on the Pushpaka chariot, feeling most disturbed. Upon seeing Kumbhakarna, Ravana became enlivened. After seating him at his side, the Rakshasa king embraced his brother. Kumbhakarna inquired, "O Ravana, what service do you wish me to do for you?" Ravana replied, "As you know, Rama has attacked Lanka with a huge army of monkeys. Already many prominent Rakshasas have died at their hands. My dear brother, I am depending on you to kill Rama and Lakshmana, for I can see no one else capable of doing so." Kumbhakarna laughed heartily upon hearing Ravana's fearful plea and said, "What was predicted by Vibhishana and other intelligent ministers has now come to pass. My dear brother, you are a rascal for ignoring the good advice of sincere well-wishers. Vibhishana and Mandodari were correct when they advised you to return Sita to Rama. O king, it is still not too late for you to rectify your mistakes, although the decision is certainly yours alone." Ravana became incensed upon hearing this unsolicited advice, but checked his anger. He replied, "It is futile for you to talk like this now, for the battle is in full motion. My dear brother, even if I did make a mistake in kidnapping Sita, I now request you to nullify the error by manifesting your unparalleled prowess. To pacify Ravana, Kumbhakarna sweetly replied, O king, do not worry, for I promise to kill Rama and Lakshmana and all the monkeys headed by Sugriva and Hanuman. These so-called heroes have only been successful on the battlefield because I was not present. Now you will see how significant the enemy is in the face of my supreme might. Desiring to please Ravana, Mahodara interrupted Kumbhakarna, saying, You are an arrogant fool for daring to criticize your elder brother. He is the king and can do whatever he likes. There was nothing wrong in Ravana's kidnapping Sita. Indeed, many kings are naturally inclined to exhibit their prowess by performing such activities. O proud giant, let me assure you that you will not be able to defeat Rama simply by dint of your strength, as you now claim. Mahodara continued, O king, I have devised a clever plan for winning over Sita. Let Kumbhakarna, myself, and other Rakshasa heroes attack Rama together. If we are able to kill him, then victory will be ours. However, even if we cannot defeat him, we can still return to Lanka claiming that we have devoured him. The false story of Rama's death should then be broadcast all over the city to the accompaniment of beating drums and rewarding of our soldiers and servants. Thus the rumor will soon reach Sita. You should then go to her as she finds herself drowning in an ocean of grief. Tempt her with promises of royal comfort and luxury, trying your best to gain her confidence. Since she will feel that she is without any other protector, I am sure that she will submit to you. O king, if you fight with Rama, you will surely lose your life on the battlefield. However, if you take my advice, you can win Sita without ever encountering Rama. Kumbhakarna replied harshly, Mahodara, your words would only appeal to cowardly kings. I have already made up my mind to kill Rama. My determination cannot go in vain. The rest of you have bungled the war, causing Lanka to be divested of its population. I shall now rectify the situation alone. I need no one to help me. At this, Ravana laughed, saying, What you say is true. Mahodara must truly be afraid of Rama. O Kumbhakarna, no one can stand before you when you enter the battlefield consumed with rage. Now please go and fight, putting an end to our anxieties. But do not go alone. Surround yourself with an army of Rakshasas so you can become even more invincible. Ravana's spirits lifted as he considered the prowess of his younger brother. As Kumbhakarna picked up a deadly dart and prepared to depart, Ravana placed a golden necklace and garlands around his neck and decorated him with other ornaments. Then Kumbhakarna put on a suit of impenetrable golden armor. After he circumambulated Ravana and bowed down before him, his elder brother embraced and blessed him. As he approached the battlefield, Kumbhakarna expanded his body to 600 bow lengths in height and 100 bow lengths in width. Even though he was determined to kill Rama and Lakshmana and devour the entire monkey army, he soon began to notice many fearful omens. Meteors streaked across the sky and she jackals howled ominously. Kumbhakarna's left eye began to twitch and his left arm throbbed. Then a vulture alighted upon the spear Kumbhakarna carried. But under the sway of destiny, the puffed up Kumbhakarna did not heed these inauspicious warnings. As Kumbhakarna stepped over the defensive wall and entered the battlefield, the monkeys panicked, running away in fear. However, Angada managed to rally the army, and when the monkeys returned, they showered Kumbhakarna with countless trees and mountain peaks. Regardless, their missiles simply broke to pieces upon striking the gigantic Rakshasa's body. In retaliation, Kumbhakarna began to slaughter multitudes of monkeys. The monkeys again panicked. In the stampede that followed, some fell from the cliffs into the ocean, while others kept their eyes closed in fear. Angada then rallied the army, saying, "It is better to die gloriously in battle than to flee in hope of finding a life of ease. Such cowards have to pass the duration of their lives being ridiculed by their relatives. Indeed, such insults give more pain than death." Still, the monkeys and their commanders continued to flee, for they considered their lives to be very dear. Finally, when Angada assured them that Rama would kill the giant, they gradually returned to the battlefield. Soon the monkeys rushed at Kumbhakarna, and the gigantic Rakshasa struck down 8,700 of them, swinging his club on all sides. Then, taking as many as 30 monkeys at a time in his arms, Kumbhakarna stuffed them into his cavernous mouth. Dvivida then threw a huge rock at Kumbhakarna. When the rock missed its mark, it landed among the Rakshasa's army, smashing many of the soldiers. From the sky, Hanuman tried to shower mountain peaks upon Kumbhakarna, but the colossal Rakshasa easily tore them to pieces with his hands. Then, when Kumbhakarna took up his spear and rushed at the monkeys, Hanuman stood in his path and hurled a great mountain peak at him. Kumbhakarna avoided the blow, however, and when he threw his spear in retaliation, it pierced Hanuman's chest, causing him to vomit blood and cry out in pain. While the Rakshasas rejoiced upon seeing Hanuman's plight, the monkeys fearfully scattered in all directions. However, Nila quickly rallied the retreating warriors, then hurled a mountain peak at Kumbhakarna, which he easily broke to pieces with his fist. Rishabha, Sarabha, Nila, Gavaksha, and Gandhamada then pounced upon Kumbhakarna all at once, but the giant Rakshasa felt their powerful blows to be as severe as loving caresses. Kumbhakarna caught hold of Rishabha and after squeezing him in his hand, threw him down unconscious on the ground. The Rakshasa then struck the other four monkey heroes, making them all fall down in a swoon. At this, the other monkeys became enraged, and thousands of them attacked Kumbhakarna at once, climbing all over his body as if it were a mountain. As the monkeys tried to bite him with their long, sharp teeth, Kumbhakarna grabbed them in his arms and stuffed them into his gaping mouth. In this way, Kumbhakarna ranged over the battlefield and devoured innumerable monkeys, although some managed to escape through his nostrils and ears after entering his mouth. As the monkey soldiers ran to the shelter of Rama's lotus feet, Angada suddenly rushed at Kumbhakarna, flinging a mountain peak at his head. This only served to enrage the giant Rakshasa further, who then rushed at Angada and hurled his spear. Angada jumped to dodge the spear and slapped Kumbhakarna in the chest, making him fall to the ground unconscious. Kumbhakarna quickly got up, however, and hit Angada with the back of his hand, causing him to fall down in a daze. Kumbhakarna then picked up his spear and rushed at Sugriva, who quickly took up a mountain peak to oppose him. But when Sugriva hurled the giant mass of rocks at Kumbhakarna's chest, it merely shattered into millions of pieces. The Rakshasas shouted with joy while the monkeys grew despondent. Kumbhakarna violently hurled his spear at Sugriva, roaring tumultuously. Hanuman, however, had been carefully watching the duel, and upon seeing Sugriva's plight, suddenly leapt up and caught the spear in mid-air, breaking it in half over his knee. The monkeys roared with delight upon seeing this extraordinary feat, leaving Kumbhakarna disheartened. Then, after breaking off a mountain peak with great agitation, Kumbhakarna hurled it impetuously at Sugriva. When the Monkey King fell unconscious from the blow, Kumbhakarna picked him up and tucked him under his arm, carrying him back to Lanka. Seeing this, Hanuman thought, if Sugriva is taken prisoner, our cause is lost. Therefore, I shall expand myself to become as huge as a mountain and then kill Kumbhakarna. The next moment, however, Hanuman reconsidered. Surely Sugriva will soon regain consciousness and somehow free himself. If it appears that the king has to be saved by someone else, he will become humiliated and disheartened. Kumbhakarna entered Lanka with Sugriva held captive, while the rejoicing citizens showered unbroken grains and scented water upon their victorious hero. These offerings, however, helped to revive Sugriva. Thus, after getting his bearings, the Monkey King began to fight back. Sugriva first tore off Kumbhakarna's earlobes with his sharp nails. Then he bit off the Rakshasa's nose and split his sides open with the claws on his toes. Sharply pained, Kumbhakarna angrily threw down Sugriva and began beating him. However, Sugriva quickly bounded into the air and returned to Rama's side within an instant. Hare Krishna. Feeling famished, the enraged Kumbhakarna picked up a huge hammer and re-entered the enemy ranks to devour the monkeys. Taking handfuls of monkeys and Rakshasas alike, Kumbhakarna stuffed them into his mouth, and streams of blood and fat poured out from the corners. Although panic-stricken monkeys tried to take shelter of Rama, Kumbhakarna ran here and there, encircling hundreds at a time in his outstretched arms. Lakshmana then came to attack Kumbhakarna with showers of arrows, but the Rakshasa deflected them all. Seeing this, the enraged Lakshmana proceeded to cover his armor with more arrows. Kumbhakarna disdainfully said, I wish to fight with Rama, not his younger brother. In response, Lakshmana pointed to Rama. Kumbhakarna then passed Lakshmana by heading toward Rama. When the giant rushed at him, Rama quickly released a Rudra weapon. As it disappeared into his chest, Kumbhakarna began to stagger, dropping his club and scattering his other weapons here and there. The unarmed Kumbhakarna then drove off with his fists the monkeys who hoped to take advantage of the setback. Then he seized a mountain peak and rushed toward Rama. Rama quickly tore the mass of rocks into small pieces with 7 arrows, and the falling debris knocked down more than 200 monkeys. Lakshmana then told Rama, Kumbhakarna is so intoxicated from drinking blood that he devours monkeys and Rakshasas alike without discriminating between them. If thousands of monkeys were to suddenly climb over Kumbhakarna's body, thus weighing it down, this Rakshasa could easily be defeated. Then innumerable monkeys began to crawl all over Kumbhakarna's body. The giant tried shaking the monkeys loose from his body as he continued meandering about, looking for monkeys to devour. Rama took this opportunity to rush forward. With his bowstring stretched to his ear, Rama challenged, O worst of the Rakshasas, please stand before me for a moment while my arrows dispatch you to the abode of Yamaraja. Hare Krishna Prabhu, should I continue?
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Let me ask the devotees if they can read it.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Aditya Prabhu, let me give you access again.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Looking up, Kumbhakarna was overjoyed to see Rama before him. Laughing gleefully, he said, "What good fortune! Since you have so kindly given me this opportunity, I shall devour you at once." Rama then showered torrents of arrows, but without being disturbed, Kumbhakarna picked up a terrible mace, hoping to slay his enemy without delay. In response, Rama evoked a powerful Vayu weapon, severing the giant's right arm, which held his gigantic club. Kumbhakarna screamed out in agony as his colossal arm fell to the ground, crushing an entire division of monkey soldiers. Mad with rage, Kumbhakarna tore up a huge tree with his left arm and rushed towards Rama. However, by invoking a mighty Indra weapon, Rama severed the giant's remaining arm. As the huge arm tumbled to the ground, numerous monkeys and Rakshasas were crushed. Even though bereft of both arms, Kumbhakarna continued to rush towards Rama, making a terrible roaring sound. Then, with two arrows, Rama cut off the Rakshas's feet. Still, Kumbhakarna opened his horrible mouth and hobbled frantically toward Rama, hoping to devour him. As Kumbhakarna steadily approached, Rama filled his gaping mouth with so many arrows that the huge Rakshasa began to gasp for breath. Finally, Kumbhakarna began to topple, losing consciousness from extreme pain. Rama then discharged another Indra weapon that streaked across the sky, illuminating all directions, and tore off Kumbhakarna's head. Kumbhakarna's gigantic body crashed into the sea, crushing to death huge fish and alligators. His head, shining like the full moon, landed on the king's highway in Lanka, demolishing big palaces and huge sections of the defensive walls and gates. From the sky, the demigods gave ecstatic shouts of joy, and the monkeys began talking of Rama's victory as though they each had five mouths. As Kumbhakarna's relatives cried out in grief, Rama experienced transcendental bliss in accomplishing his heroic feat. Ravana was informed that Kumbhakarna's severed head was blocking the city gate, and his huge dead body was half submerged in the ocean. This was too much for Ravana, who simply fainted away. Upon regaining consciousness, he moaned, "Without Kumbhakarna, I will not be able to go on living, for life has no more meaning. What a mistake I have made by not listening to Vibhishana." One of Ravana's sons, named Trishira, said, "Father, do not lament. I have immense prowess and weapons awarded by Lord Brahma. My brothers, Devantaka, Narantaka, and Atikaya, are also expert in conjuring tricks and can fight while flying in the sky. We shall all go together and kill Rama, Lakshmana, and the monkey warriors. Please give up your despair." Ravana became enlivened by Trishira's assurances. After decorating his four sons with ornaments and garlands, the Rakshasa king sent them out to fight, along with Mahaparshva and Mahodara. The six powerful warriors headed to the battlefield, followed by an enormous army of Rakshasas. Thus, the fighting began as both sides roared impetuously. Before long, the battlefield became difficult to traverse because of the piles of dead bodies, severed limbs, broken chariots, and shattered mountain peaks and crags strewn about. Monkeys that were previously struck down by Kumbhakarna re entered the fight, feeling refreshed, and at first seemed to gain the upper hand. Then, riding on horseback, Narantaka slaughtered 700 monkey soldiers with his spear. Sugriva ordered Angada to attack the son of Ravana. The unarmed Angada thus approached Narantaka, challenging, "Why are you wasting your time fighting with common monkeys? Throw your spear at my chest if you consider yourself to be a great hero." Biting his lip in rage, Narantaka suddenly hurled his spear. However, when it struck Angada, it broke into fragments and fell to the ground. Angada darted forward and smashed his fist on the head of Narantaka's horse. The horse fell dead with a fractured skull, and the infuriated Narantaka jumped onto the ground, retaliating by smashing Angada's skull with his fist. As blood poured from his wound, Angada reeled back, but quickly came to his senses. Again rushing forward with his fist clenched, Angada brought it down with full force upon his adversary. The mighty blow crushed Narantaka's entire chest, making him fall dead upon the battlefield. Rama was both pleased and astonished to witness Angada's heroic feat, but Mahodara could not tolerate the death of his nephew. He angrily rushed at Angada along with Devantaka and Trishira. When he saw the three Rakshasas approaching, Angada tore up a giant tree, hurling it at Devantaka. Trishira easily cut the tree to pieces with his arrows. Angada continued to shower trees and rocks, but to no avail. Mahodara then approached Angada while riding upon his elephant and struck him in the chest with a spiked club. Angada, however, was not even slightly disturbed by the blow and violently struck the elephant with his hand. When the gigantic beast fell down dead, Angada tore out one of its tusks and hurled it at Devantaka, wounding him severely. However, Devantaka quickly recovered and struck Angada with his club, making the prince fall to his knees. Even though Angada sprang to his feet, Trishira struck him in the forehead with three arrows. Hanuman and Neela rushed to the prince's aid. Neela hurled a mountain peak at Trishira, and as the three-headed Rakshasa smashed it to pieces, Devantaka rushed at Hanuman with his club held high. Hanuman leapt into the air to avoid Devantaka's blow, simultaneously striking the Rakshasa on the head with his clenched fist. With his skull completely smashed in, Devantaka fell down dead on the battlefield. Meanwhile, as Trishira released torrents of arrows at Neela, Mahodara mounted another elephant and rejoined the fray. As all of his limbs became pierced, Neela momentarily lost consciousness. Upon recovering, Neela took up a mountain peak, sprang into the air, and smashed it upon Mahodara's head. As Mahodara fell down, Trishira became mad with rage and began barraging Hanuman with streams of arrows. Hanuman retaliated with a mountain peak, but Trishira easily smashed it to pieces. Next, Hanuman released a continuous showers of trees, but the three-headed Rakshasa tore them all to pieces too. Hanuman became frustrated and angrily jumped on Trishira's horse and began tearing at its hide with his sharp nails. Trishira tried to pierce Hanuman with his spear, but the monkey hero grabbed it out of his hands and broke it in half. Trishira then quickly drew his sword and slashed Hanuman across the chest. But in spite of being wounded, Hanuman slapped the Rakshasa in the chest, making him fall off his horse dazed. Hanuman then jumped down from the horse and picked up the Rakshasa's sword that had fallen from his hand and began roaring loudly. This was intolerable for Trishira, and he quickly jumped up and punched Hanuman in the chest. Hanuman flared with rage. Then, grabbing Trishira by one of his necks, he severed all three of the Rakshasas' heads, one after the other. The monkeys began roaring triumphantly. However, Mahaparshva angrily took up his iron club and began to drive the monkeys from the battlefield. Rishabha then came to challenge Mahaparshva, but the Rakshasa immediately struck him in the chest with his club, throwing him to the ground unconscious. When Rishabha regained his senses, he again rushed at Mahaparshva, striking him severely in the chest with his fist. Mahaparshva collapsed to the ground, bathed in his own blood, and as he struggled to recover his strength, Rishabha took away his spiked iron club. But before the monkey chief could attack, Mahaparshva got up and punched him, making him fall down in a daze. Rishabha quickly recovered and again picked up the iron club, smashing it against Mahaparshva's chest. Blood gushed out from the wound, but still the Rakshasa attempted to take the club from Rishabha's hands. Before he could retake the club, the monkey chief smashed him over the head with it, causing the Rakshasa to fall down dead, his eyes and teeth completely crushed in. As the Rakshasa army began to flee in fear, the giant Rakshasa Atikaya attacked the monkeys from his chariot. Seeing Atikaya's colossal size, they thought that Kumbhakarna had come back to life and fearfully ran for the shelter of Rama. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, shall I stop here
Yeah, Hare
or
Krishna,
shall I
Prabhu.
continue?
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So we can stop here for today. Uh, Thank you very much, Aditya Prabhu, for reading it. And devotees, if they have any questions,
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Can you hear me? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I think you are not able to hear.
Rama was also amazed to see the gigantic Rakshasa and thus inquired about him from Vibhishana. Vibhishana explained, this monstrous Rakshasa named Atikaya is the son of Ravana and Danyamalini. By performing severe austerities, he satisfied Lord Brahma. Thus,
I think Aditya Prabhu is not able to hear me. I'll just text him that we will stop today. We are going to stop here. So if devotees they have any questions, they can ask in the questions tab. Otherwise, we'll wind it up for today, and we'll continue from page number 410. From Rama was also amazed. So devotees, if they don't have any questions, we can wind it up today. For today, Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki Jai. Hare Krishna.